Jimmy Carter, a life of humility, integrity, and service. Jimmy Carter's life story is a powerful example of how humility, integrity, and dedication to service can change the world. Born on October 1st, 1924, in the small town of Plains, Georgia, Carter grew up during the Great Depression. His early years were defined by hard work on his family's peanut farm and lessons in compassion and justice from his parents. These values became the foundation of a life dedicated to serving others. After graduating from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1946, Carter began a promising career as a naval officer. But when his father passed away in 1953, Carter made a pivotal decision. He returned to Plains to take over the family farm. It was not an easy choice, but it was one rooted in responsibility and a commitment to his family and community. It was during these years in Plains that Carter began to see the inequalities and challenges faced by rural Americans. Determined to make a difference, he entered public service, starting with the Georgia State Senate. Carter quickly gained a reputation for honesty and reform, tackling issues like racial segregation and government inefficiency. He didn't just talk about change, he worked for it. His success in Georgia eventually led him to the governor's office in 1971, where he continued to fight for civil rights, environmental conservation, and education. Carter's belief that leadership was about serving others, not seeking power, became his defining trait. In 1976, at a time when Americans were reeling from political scandals and a loss of trust in government, Jimmy Carter ran for president with a simple yet profound promise: "I will never lie to you." His sincerity and commitment to rebuilding trust resonated with the nation, and he was elected as the 39th President of the United States. As president, Carter prioritized human rights, both at home and abroad. His crowning achievement was the Camp David Accords, a peace agreement between Egypt and Israel that demonstrated the power of diplomacy. He also focused on energy conservation, creating the Department of Energy and advocating for sustainable practices long before they became mainstream concerns. But Carter's presidency was not without challenges. High inflation, an energy crisis, and the Iran hostage crisis tested his leadership. While these struggles overshadowed some of his accomplishments, Carter never wavered in his principles. He demonstrated that true leadership means making tough decisions even when they are unpopular. After leaving office in 1981, many might have chosen retirement. But for Jimmy Carter, this was just the beginning of a new chapter. He founded the Carter Center, an organization dedicated to promoting democracy, advancing human rights, and improving global health. His post-presidency work on eradicating diseases like guinea worm and his tireless advocacy for peace earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. Even in his later years, Carter remained a symbol of humility and service. Through his work with Habitat for Humanity, he showed the world that no act of kindness is too small. Whether he was hammering nails to build homes for families in need or negotiating peace treaties on the global stage, Carter exemplified what it means to live a life of purpose. Jimmy Carter's story reminds us that greatness isn't about power or wealth. It's about integrity, compassion, and the courage to stand for what's right, even in the face of adversity. He taught us that leadership is not about seeking recognition, but about lifting others and leaving the world better than you found it. As we reflect on his journey, let us be inspired by his example. In a world that often values ambition over service, Carter's life stands as a beacon, urging us to lead with heart, to serve with humility, and to believe in the power of one person to make a difference.